Starting June 1st, it will begin a new installment of the Hebrew and Bible Academy. The full 12 weeks will be concentrating on the beginning and fall of Babylon, history, the understanding of the religious aspect of Babylon, as well as what? The theme from Babylon, Rome to America. In the Academy, this is what you can look forward to. New lessons. The secret war of Edom against Israelites. But one thing we've never delved into was bringing forth the history, showing all the contentions and war Edom has waged against Israelites even until our present time. The desolation of abomination, how to calculate time according to God, and I can't wait for this lesson, Armageddon. The final war in heaven. If you've never been in the Academy, you want to be in this one. June 1st, we're in open enrollment right now. Go to historytimes.org to enroll. Hebrew and Bible Academy, you're invited.
The East is where we're from.
Shalom.
12 tribes of Israel. And 721 BC, the Assyrian king, he took us down, we fell. With the great escape, we went through the Euphrates. The Lord held the water still. To a land where no mankind dwelt, we went. The 12 tribes of Israel. That's who we be. Manasseh, the Cubans, Ephraim from Puerto Rico, and Valley from the hearts of Hawaii. The Lord is calling back Israel. Babylon from Panama, yeah, the North American Indians, Simeon, the Dominicans, our highest gathering Israel. The Arabs and Africans told us.
That's right, brothers and sisters, the Most High's gather in Israel. I'm Elder Rawchaa of the Gathering of Christ Church here live with our weekly broadcast, Patreon update actually. And first and foremost, I would like to say again, all praises be to the Most High. Ahaya in the name of Yeshua through the Rawchaa, the Most High Christ through the Holy Spirit. Welcome to our, that's right, Patreon update before we segue over to conversate with our loyal Patreonies. Patreon.com/agathering144. And yes, for those who need to know, this coming Sunday we'll be going into the secret war between Esau against Israelites. The secret war of Edomites against Israelites is this particular lesson coming up this Sunday. How Esau has become the invisible man to attack his brother Jacob from behind the veil. Well, today we're going to go into the secret cult of Esau. And it's going to break everything down. And that's why I titled this particular broadcast, The Secret Cult of Babylon. That's why I titled it this. We don't know that we're being attacked by a secret religion that's now getting exposed. A secret religion we're being attacked by. You're going to understand why CPS been all up in our communities, causing what? Issues by taking children, okay, under certain circumstances. Not to say, let me make it clear, Not to say there aren't circumstances where CPS is needed when it comes to an unfit parent. It's not like everyone within CPS is a part of the cult. You got to have good people with good intentions operating so that people cannot understand the dark forces that are at the top politically over these organizations. But when there's a certain profile that leads to them being able to get their hands on certain children, I'm speaking of if an elite or one person from the cult who works in these organizations and see low-hanging fruit, that they can shake children away from unfit parents, that's the issue. They find their ways into areas to get close to children. And what I'm going to be talking about today is what people didn't fully understand about the Epstein thing. Okay? He's just a part of a cult. And they would rather you just focus on him, not to understand how the molestation, LGBTQ, giving our women a basketball team so that they can promote role models for women to become, on the other side. Folks, this runs through every part of our societies. The educational system, the colleges, the religious institutions, it goes all the way up to the tippy top. This particular cult. And we're going to talk about that today. Epstein's niece did a confession, and they told her since a child that she is a part of the cult of Baal, a generational cult from one generation to the next. Where do we come in all of this? I'm going to show you in one moment. They have the cult of Baal in place in order to continue the systematic slavery over God's people. Okay? It's the guardrails for Satan's political power, to put everything in place to keep the systematic oppression of God's people going. Drugs is a part of it. The destruction of family is a part of it. Pushing perversions is a part of it. Separating families. And yes, child molestation is a key component that must happen amongst the cult of Baal. And we're going to talk about that on the other side so that our brothers and sisters can understand how important it is to come back to the Almighty in an effort to protect the next generation. The whole thing is a cult. How dare them claim that when we come back to the truth and understand we're Israelites and follow God according to the Bible, that we're the cult. Brothers and sisters, we were born in a cult, and it's called Babylon. Right? Now, before I transition over and go into what I'll be talking about, right, I would like to put out a quick apology, if you will. Okay? I would like to put out a quick apology. Let me turn this down. Why so? Last week, I spoke to my production team for this particular channel. Right? I said, listen, the head of one of our production teams. And I said, well, listen, 3 to 4 hours of people actually sitting through a lesson is unheard of in our current microwave age of information, where everyone is looking to get to the punchline or get to the crux of what they're viewing immediately within a couple of seconds. So you must be a dedicated believer in the word to actually go through a complete Sabbath or broadcast with the gathering of Christ Church, or any content creator. That's what they've become, for that matter, based on the fact that there's low attention spans now. People need their dopamine hit almost immediately, or they'll just tune out altogether. So when they see 3 to 4 hours of our brothers and sisters sending a video to their family and all that, to understand that this is the truth, the family member is going to look at this 5 hours and 3 hours and saying, I'm not going to spend the large part of my day finding out what you're dealing with. So I told the team that there's a need for us to put up serious, hard-hitting clips so that people on the outside who wouldn't view the 3 to 4 hours would understand what they're missing by not being patient and viewing our classes. So we have to give them clips showing what's in the particular broadcast, right? And through those clips, they're going to click on the video that's connected to that clip and see the full context. That's the plan. There's a lot of great points that are being made and different topics within a 2 or 3 hour class that need to be highlighted separately. Right? Now, that was the plan. Now, all due respect to anybody and everybody, when someone is putting up clips, it must represent who? The leader's perspectives on what's the intent of these videos, and they are to bring God's people to him. The titles cannot be in a way in which people are getting singled out or feel offended just by looking at a title. When someone put up a title, it's an extension of me. And people will believe I put that title up because I understand the importance of titles. Right? The first impression can become the last impression. So when I seen, real quick, so this is why the buck stops with me. So when I seen earlier a clip was put up that was originally titled, "Men Do Not Underestimate the Power of Woman or Women," I immediately made a phone call and stated, nah, y'all gonna have to do a better vetting system with this, all due respect. Because when you put something out, they're gonna believe that I seen the clip, understood the title, and approved it. When this came from a 4-hour class, a 3-hour class. Make sure that if someone is going to put up a title, that it represents our efforts to help God's people so that individuals, women or men, aren't what? Personally offended by the title. If they are offended, then they're not going to click in it to see what? To hear the context of what actually being said. So it's undoing what I originally set out to do. So I said, please change this title immediately. Men do not underestimate the power of evil women. Because there's good women out there. And a lot of good women are getting the blowback from society based on the loudest and the women with the biggest bullhorns. So immediately we changed that title. Okay? And I want people to know when these clips, and I made it clear, we're going to have to vet all of these clips that are coming through and make sure it's titled with the effort to help our people and to not offend them. That wasn't the intent. Now, in all due respect, maybe it's been delegated to people. I don't want someone's going through an issue or whatever the case is that are under me that I don't even know who's titling it. They may have an issue, and now through me, they title something, not to say that happened. But somebody can wake up on the wrong side of the bed. We all have disagreements, whatever the case might be. What I never do, and this is what I never do, I never take what's going on with me personally and transfer that into a discussion before the world. Okay? When I do this, before the Most High first, in delivering his word to you, it's in all honesty, outside of anything that I'm dealing with. Okay? Straight out. Because this is what I'm held accountable for. I'm here as a fisher of men to bring people to Christ. That's it. I'm not going to let what I'm dealing with personally, even if I had issues in my relationship, whatever the case is, that's not going to translate to a teaching that I would do online. But see, and that's where the responsibility and the accountability comes on those that are actually working with the church, who don't really mean any ill, but they must have a responsibility, and I told them, to make sure that the titles out there represents what this church has always put out there. Because people can tell when there's a change. And automatically, right, in the comment section, someone commented, probably was a sister, and saying, Elder must be going through something personal, or whatever the case is. And I'm glad she put that comment out there, so to show the team that's putting these clips together that when you do something out there, they're looking at me. And I'm not going to make this a long, drawn out thing, but all in all, we're putting up short clips that hits hard, that gets to the point of any other topic, that leads people into understanding how important those Sabbath lessons are. Most people aren't going to view the lessons for 3-4 hours, but there's some key teachings within those particular Sabbath and Wednesday broadcasts that could benefit those on the outside of this ministry and benefit us also. Okay? So I just wanted to put that out there to let y'all know that, we have to delegate. Time is running short, and we put it on the team to clip the videos and put them out there. All right? But again, they have a responsibility to make sure these titles represent what this church, through Christ, is seeking to convey to the masses in the last days. Okay? So I wanted to make that clear. Okay? So no, it's not a big deal. It's something small, but, communication is key in all of this, right? And we have to make sure that this ministry go out and it brings as many people as possible back under the fold, because folks, a judgment will soon happen in the earth. And guess what? We want to make sure brothers and sisters get the right information so that they can make the right choices. Okay? So I wanted to make sure y'all understand that. Okay, this is not the manosphere. Okay, now we're going to keep the shorts coming up, but we're going to make sure, and I appreciate everyone in the team working. It takes a lot of work to comb through these videos and see these hard hitting points to make titles and all that and make sure they're up on a regular basis. So I appreciate the team. I appreciate everything they do. And I will never get in the way of what they're doing, right? But again, it must be represented in a way where all people can accept and understand that it's not personal. Sometimes, folks, it takes me about 24 hours to come up with a good title, even if I have the lesson in my mind already, right? Because I have to make sure that the title is so hard-hitting that anyone, even those who don't even believe in the Bible, must click on to see what's happening over here. That's how important titles are, right? So look, you can look forward to more shorts. And again, there's open enrollment on the Hebrew and Bible Academy currently. Okay. And if that brother who made this shirt, if you're out there, because everyone is clamoring for these particular shirts that I've been wearing the last couple of days, and I lost your paperwork that you sent with this shirt. Okay, I lost the paperwork, Judah. So if you can text me real quick your information where brothers and sisters can order this shirt, I'll be more than happy to let everyone know. I get nothing from it at all, but it helps the brother to continue to clothe God's people. So again, I lost the paperwork, or it could be either in the house or at the church. But brother Judah, who made the shirts, I think it's Judah Wear. I don't want to put out Judah Clothing. Text me real quick so I can put the hyperlink in the chat so that others can order these shirts. Everyone is talking about them. They're very nice, high quality, and I thought that I would give you a shout out so that other brothers and sisters out here can actually purchase these shirts. Now, before I segue over to Patreon, let me make this clear. Oh, it's called Judah Clothing. Judah Clothing. Judah Clothing. Okay. Let me make it clear. So to why, brothers and sisters, listen to me clearly. This is why I'm speaking of this title that we put here. Men do not underestimate the power of evil women. Right? And I told him to do what? To correct the title, because the Bible make a distinction between a virtuous woman and a Jezebel, or a scorned woman who never could bring herself to forgive, not just for other people, but for herself. The Bible makes a distinction between a virtuous woman and a scorned woman, or a Jezebel, or a woman who's a harlot. The Bible makes a distinction for that, the same way the Bible makes a distinction between a righteous man and a wicked man. If I was to title something and say, women do not underestimate the power of men in a negative light, then that would what? That would paint all of men with a broad brush. And how long have we been pushing back on that when they say men are dogs and everything else, and even the guys who try to do right are now affected negatively by it. So again, That's why I said make sure you put an evil woman in there, because, I mean, women are being punched down on intentionally right now. And I told people that's how the devil works. When men started waking up and seeing the tools and the societal tools in the courts and things working against them, men started navigating differently. Okay, and that's common sense. That's self-preservation. That's the first responsibility. That's the first responsibility an individual has to themselves. Right? It's to self-preserve. When you see a system is set up in traps everywhere, and you see the game they played to attack men, now men are navigating from around the traps. Even if it means not having access to relationships like men used to have. And I told people years ago, I said, when Satan can no longer, when men start wising up, and sometimes it takes us a while, right? When men start wising up, Satan is just going to swing the pendulum the other way. It'll just be the women's turn. When now women can't do anything right. Women are the evil ones. Now the news will just promote women going crazy in airports and doing wrong and stealing everything, the same model that they use to demonize men, black men in particular. They just switched it up and put it on women. And I told them it was coming that way. It was going that way. So now, we're not going to be a part of this destructive plan to destroy God's people and get on the bandwagon of attacking women. We're not going to do that. Okay. Now, will there be critique according to the Bible? Absolutely. Okay. Thank you, Rawchaa. I'm going to put that up in a second. Right? Absolutely. But when we put things out there, it's of hopes of bringing family together, and that the righteous can separate themselves from those who have given us a bad name. That the women will separate themselves from the women who have given them a negative image. And the same with men. Okay, and again, let me put this out there. Let me put this out. And plus, in a couple of weeks, we're going to have a lesson on this anyway in the academy. Let me make it clear, right? When it says men do not underestimate the power of evil women, whose fault is it if a man choose an evil woman? It's his fault. And the Bible says, give honor to the woman as the weaker vessel. So usually, automatically, and it's by default, men, I know black men, are raised to see women as the purer half of ourselves. The innocent. Okay? The less threatening. So we are raised to believe that a woman cannot cause certain issues, and through that, there's a blind spot. There's a blind spot. Now, let's talk about that real quick. Men put themselves in compromising situations based on circumstance. Well, some people might ask, well, what do you mean by that, Elder? Just say if a guy got out of jail or he's on hard times, there's a woman there who's going to put him up right? Who's going to be there for him, right? And there is. And she should be commended for that. But the majority of the time, if a man is down on his luck, need some assistance or help, and a woman is there for him, listen to me clearly, sisters too. Women is expecting a level of appreciation, gratitude, that he's going to understand that I was there at its lowest point, right? But what you don't know, and I'm just speaking real from where I came up from, Nazareth, North Philly, okay, in a nutshell. Women have to be careful with that, because you would have to ask the question, would he be there with you if he didn't need your support? If he didn't need a warm meal, a cot, some place to stay and sustain himself. If he didn't if you didn't just offer that, would he be there for you? And why am I saying this? This is where a lot of scorn comes in at. A woman do everything she can to get this guy on his feet when he had nothing. But then it's a situation in the back of her mind thinking also, could I have gotten this same man, right? Listen, and I'm going to go to the scriptures. Could I have gotten this same man, the man of my dreams and all of that, if this man was on his feet already? So a dichotomy happens where she feels what? She feels she needs appreciation. But he may be just there long enough to get on his feet, to find the person he truly desires. Now, why am I going there? Because these are the dynamics that leads to scorn. So how do we fix this on either side? She got him on his feet. She was there when no one else is there. This dude was literally homeless. All I need is some reciprocity and appreciation, because no one was there for you when you were down and out. And now when you get on your feet, it's in your mind the whole time to be somewhere else with somebody else. And that can destroy a woman. Right? So now it falls on the men. And I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to show you how it falls on the men in a moment. This is the problem. Now, not too long ago, a gay guy came out who worked under Tyler Perry Pictures. Y'all can find it online. And he said his problem with Tyler Perry is that Tyler Perry isn't what? He isn't honest with his audience concerning his sexual preference. He feels, based on how he built his label in the church, that, and he know it's against the morality contained in the Bible, he feel that it would hurt his brand if he just told people that he was gay. And he says that's what the gay community has against Tyler Perry. Why am I going there in the instance of all this? I don't know what the guy's doing, right? I'm not going to make an assertion on whether or not the man is gay, even though he dressed like women in movies. What I'm saying is, it was him who I truly believe, based on his productions, have a problem with black men. I believe he has the problem with black men and is using his productions to do what? To weaponize women in society who love his productions against us. And by doing so, his productions have destroyed not just the black man, but the black woman who he claimed to support. Why am I saying this? It was him who started putting in the women's mind, in these movies, the successful women to go find the guy who was homeless and turn this homeless guy. Now, we all fall on hard times. I know what it is to not have a place to stay. Depending on, my family until I got on my feet. So that ain't what I'm talking about. We all know what it is to go through hard times. And some of those hard times makes us better. We hit rock bottom and realize our faults. We get with the Most High and he began to build us from the ground up. But it was Tyler Perry in his movies started pushing this successful woman, go find a man that's homeless, jail, or whatever the case is, and make him into your Prince Charming. Right? Now, I have a man who's dedicated and indebted to me with the law over him. And through that, I can actually keep him, not because he want to be there, right? I can now keep him based on all the traps in place if he decide to cross me. If he decide to cross me and he's on probation, the only thing I have to say is now he did something wrong and he's going back to jail. That's how crazy things has become. But it still comes back to the man. Look at this. Still comes back. And we're going to talk about this in a roundtable discussion. We'll probably do this not this Sunday, but the following Sunday. We'll do it. Right? In the academy. Let me read this real quick. In Ecclesiastes 25 and 22, it reads, a woman. This is God. This is the wisdom from God. A woman, if she maintain her husband, that means she's maintaining a full-grown man. Now, this is the guy Tyler Perry is programming the women to get with. A man who needs a woman to maintain them. And this is why a lot of women in our community are scorned. Because as soon as he get on his feet, she dresses him up. She makes him the best what? Image of himself. Beyond anything he was before he met her. And guess what she did? She prepped him for another woman. See? Because he really wasn't there to maintain her. He wasn't there. He wasn't invested. He had nothing to lose. See that? This man had nothing to lose. I need y'all to understand this dynamics. If he didn't have nothing to lose, brothers and sisters, then he wasn't invested. That's why when a man sought a virgin to be married in the Bible, That's why he had to give a dowry to the family. He had to be invested. If this relationship goes bad, guess what? You're out of something. But if you had a guy who came with nothing from the beginning, he isn't invested. You're maintaining him, believing that he's going to appreciate that. When really, a man resents that. He feels less than a man having a woman take care of him, but he's not telling you. He feels less than because he can't really call any shots. He's emasculated and he began to resent the woman for having more than him. And this is a dynamic that people don't, this is what happens when you get, I don't know, allegedly, gay people in straight people's business. Creating productions that cause dissension, promoting things backwards because they see the world backward. See, you can have a happy ending in a movie. You can write a movie any way you want. Happily ever after. Now every woman is going to look for a man who can't maintain them. So the Bible says if a woman, if she maintain her husband, listen to this, folks, is full of anger, impudence, and much reproach, she becomes bitter and scorned. And now she's bitter and scorned, put back out in the world, angry and all of that. And the media has a camera recording every minute of it, showing how dysfunctional our community is. Of course, she's angry. She's maintaining a grown man. See? So now it comes down to the man. It's up to a man not to choose an evil woman. And this is where it falls on the woman. It's up to you to present the best version of yourself and not sell yourself short. But it first comes with you presenting the best version of yourself. When you don't have a man, the same way when a man doesn't have a woman, that is the time to connect with the Almighty and become the best version of yourself. You're not supposed to be looking for a man. That's right. And a man at his lowest state is not supposed to be looking for a woman. See? You're supposed to be what? Building the best version of yourself. The best version of a woman's self starts with her outward image. Okay. And why is that? Her outward image is what a man sees initially. And with that outward image, she can now choose to get the outcome that will benefit her. But with her outward image comes a spiritual component. It's called chastity. That's the spiritual part. So when a woman isn't with a man, she's connected with the Most High. And she's building the best version of herself from the outward appearance. That's a time that she's making the best body available. The spiritual side is her chastity. The fact that she isn't giving her body to no one and building herself while connecting with the Almighty will make it where she doesn't have to settle for someone who doesn't deserve her work. Right? A man. And this is why I say chastity, because I'm showing things from a simplistic viewpoint. Something that can easily get done. That's simplistic. Because if you have your chastity, there's discipline, you're praying with the Almighty, and guess what? You're exercising, you're making the best version of yourself, and now you feel what? Better about yourself and the relationship you have with the Most High. And guess what? That has nothing to do with anyone else but you and him. So when it comes to a man, right? You're not going to have to chase a man at all. You're not going to have to try to hold a man down in hopes that he don't go do something and all these others. Because you made the best version of yourself. See? And by you doing what's right, that's where the Most High comes in. He comes in. Because a woman who worked on themselves isn't going to get a man who hasn't worked on himself. On the flip side, a man, when he's brought low, he must become the best version of himself, outside and inside. So what the woman has in the outward beauty as her currency, a man must be able to provide. That's his currency. So he's working on himself and he's building up himself. He's working in the spirit, connecting with the Almighty, not dealing with women, not even worrying about that, while getting his worth up as a man on earth. Because Adam was told that through the sweat of his brow, that means working, the earth will bring forth fruit. So the woman is the outward aesthetic that she must maintain. And I'm not talking about hair and nails. That's a cover. That's a cover. That's a mask. A woman have to work on her outward aesthetics, what she know needs to be worked on. That's her glory, that's her power, and once she work on it, she's not going to settle for a man who isn't going to appreciate the work she put in. If the man look at you and see based on how you look, you're not putting in work, that's all the work he feel he would need to put in for you. Okay? This is not about feelings. That's the reality. Men, women cannot maintain a man and take care of him because he's not viewing it like you think he's viewing it. He's not viewing it in appreciation for you. Not all the time. And then guess what? There is some men out there who, if they fall on a hard time and the woman is there, guess what? When it happens, when he makes it happen, guess what? He's going to make sure she's taken care of. But you cannot find the majority of men like that in this world. Because what this man and sisters, man, we got to have a whole conversation on this. Listen to this. Sisters, what you don't know, When you maintain a man, you bring him in your house, he already feel emasculated. Because it's not just that. If he's not contributing and all that, and everything is you're telling him what to do now. What you leaving your stuff around here for? Do this, do that. You are, in fact, the man. And what he's not saying in his mind is how much he's resenting the fact that he must be subjugated under a woman. And in his mind, he's counting the days when he can get on his feet and have his own away from all of this talking to him. See? Trying to direct him. Because by doing that, he feels less than a man. And this is why the Bible says a woman, if she maintain her husband, is full of anger, impudence, and much reproach. Because now she's going to let this man know how she's feel now. She put a date in her mind without telling him how long he can be there with, without getting on his feet and doing things as a man. Right? She put it in her mind. Well, I'm going to give him this amount of time. But then she starts saying, you have to get a job. You have to start paying some of these bills. And he's looking at you like, what part of the deal was that? How I came in is how you accepted me. See? So what he'll do is he'll start taking that time to get on his feet and do all these other things. And he's not going to forget when you was always badgering him in his ear, coming against him, emasculating him. When he's around you, he feel less than a man. And the first opportunity when he get on his feet is to leave. All right. So I wanted to put that out there. Maybe we'll have that discussion because a lot of people mean good with their decisions, but not realizing that if you do things backward, you're going to get a backward outcome. Right? And now it's pie on the face, shame before the people you know, because they see what you put in with a person who didn't deserve it. And that's why it's upon the women to look at the men and say, well, listen, this is what happens. A woman, if she maintain her husband. So if you bring a man in and you think he's going to appreciate you just because you have something, think again. If you don't want to be in that scenario, if you don't want to be in that scenario now, you're running around the world, what? Resentful. Scorned. If you don't want to be in this situation, sisters, this is what you must do. You must make the best version of yourself. And you, only you, understands what that looks like. When a man makes the best version of himself, who isn't simple like what we see with what's going on with Shannon Sharp or whatever the case is. When a man makes the best version of himself, he's very choosy. He's very choosy concerning the woman who would appreciate the hard work he put in. He's not going to go out and just grab any woman. Okay? To share his hard earned with. Because he put the work in. Not to lose it to a woman who doesn't deserve it. See? And women have to look at that from what she brings to the table. All the work I put into myself to make the best version of myself, inside and outside, I'm not going to waste all this hard work on someone who isn't going to deserve it. Okay. But this conversation, this is why these conversations are being had all online when it comes to relationships and all that. And the bottom line is everyone is doing things backward. The way God intended, how he had it set up was way more simpler, and we had way less issues. And again, well, some people say, well, listen, well, that's the world, and that's not really with the Most High and the Most High's people. Well, sometimes those things creep in. Let me put it that way. Right? But I thought I'd put that out there real quick. Before I go into what I'm going to be talking about let me tell you what I'm going to be talking about on Patreon today. The secret cult of Babylon exposed. Well, what's that? Well, folks, you know the curses we read about in Deuteronomy 28? The curses we read about in Deuteronomy 28, where it states, first the blessings. And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken, which means listen, diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and to do all his commandments which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations. That means people on the earth. That means if we follow God, he would put us over all people. But what happens if we break God's law? We are the children of Israel. Deuteronomy 28:15 reads, but it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not listen, hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and to do all his commandments and his statutes which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. Now check out these curses. Cursed shalt thou be in the city, and cursed shalt thou be in the field. Doesn't matter if you're up in the north or the south. Right? Picking cotton or whatever the case is. Well, folks, all of these curses, Satan have placed throughout the Gentiles a cult in place to sustain everything we are reading. So the Most High knew that once we were expelled from Jerusalem, we would then be subjected to, that's right, the satanic cult of Baal. That's what it's called. What is the curse of Baal? Well, listen to this. They must institute, because these are the things the Gentiles were always dealing with on the outside of on the outside or outer skirts of our land. They had a system in place that would enslave their own people. They had a system in place to sacrifice children to Baal. Right? Listen to this. Check this out. The Lord shall send upon thee cursings, vexation, and rebuke, and all that thou settest thy hands unto do, for to do, until you be destroyed, and until thy perish quickly, because thy wickedness of thy doings, whereby thou hast forsaken me. So when we look at this, we're saying, well, hold up. Our God said that he's going to do this to us. See, but you have to understand this in context. The Most High has never tempted any man to do evil, neither can he do evil himself. What he was letting you know is he was turning the world over, our people over. Since we wanted to serve the God of this world like Gentiles, then we would be subjected to the God of this world and suffer under the cult that was actually amongst the Gentile nations in their religious practices. Look at this. Listen to this. And I'm going to show you this as an example. The Lord shall make the pestilence cleave unto thee. Right? Pestilence, pest. The example I can give you today is that Bill Gates shown in the TED Talks the new mosquitoes that they've engineered in a lab. So that's what? That's the cult of Baal executing the curses against God's people. Even though God said that this is what we would get subjected to under the curse, these are their scientists under a organized cult executing these curses against us. And I'm showing you how the political system and all of that is just one big religion. The Lord shall smite thee with a consumption, with a fever. Right? And then we look not too long ago with the COVID, where we've seen Fauci now, it's proven based on the hearings amongst the Senate not too long ago, that they were doing gain of function research in Wuhan, China. The cult of Baal. See? But then there's a sexual component, getting rid of children. And the children who do live or get an opportunity to live, for them to violate them sexually as an initiation into the priesthood. So how would you do this? Well, you would separate the parents from their children by making it where they would have to work without two parents. And now the children are getting ran by the state. And then they'll put some of their priests and or priestesses over these organizations, be it daycare centers, schools, college institutions, healthcare institutions. See how it works? It's one big priesthood. And to make sure it works, you would make sure that all the political people in position of influence are already compromised and have been compromised since children. Now, how do we know this? Well, we have something to listen to, and it's going to be Epstein's niece. Listen to this. Epstein's niece exposes all from Bill Clinton, the cult of Baal, what happened to her as a child. And when you hear this, it's going to all make sense. Disney, the political arena, the entertainment apparatus, they all are in collusion under this satanic religion to keep the curses going against the children of Israel from one generation to the next. And folks, they compromises their own children first. And if they'll do this under this cult to their own children, what chance do our people have getting secretly attacked by the cult of Baal? This goes all the way up through the synagogues to the Vatican, and even have permeated himself and promoted itself amongst the black churches. I'm going to be talking about this on the other side. Once we go in, we're going to jump right into the interview, and then you're going to understand why, folks, this is why they wanted a separated man outside of the home so that they can get access to the children. And they wanted to plant a satanic dark seed into children, boys and girls, as an effort to initiate the world into the cult of Baal. I'm going to be talking about that on the other side. She exposes everything. Okay? Epstein was a part of the cult, according to her. And what she mentioned is that Epstein grew a conscience and was going to expose a few things. And she intimated that he still could be living right now. She said Giselle, the one who was operating with Epstein, now she's the deviant witch that no one is talking about. She gets off, according to her, she gets off on the total destruction of children. We're going to be talking about that. Well, don't forget, folks, Patreon is only $5 a month. It's nothing at all. It's $5 a month. Okay? So we're going to be talking about that on the other side, how politicians, preachers, and everyone is involved in this, and we'll hear it from someone. And folks, the drugs is a big part of this. Let me mention. The drugs is a big part of it. Hold on real quick. 1 second. Oh, that's it. All right. The link y'all see there? See the link? That's the link for my brother Osher for those who would like to actually order the shirts. Like the one you see me with the other day. I get nothing at all from this. For those who would like to get the shirt you presently see, you can go to the link in the chat. The new release. You can get it in black and white. This is the shirt that I had on Wednesday. I have the white version of it, but that black is popping right there, boy. That black is hitting for something. And I have a few of these to give out in the academy this coming Sunday. So if you're in the academy, a lot of you are going to be able to get a few of these. Elder Lawya and I are going to sign a card and send that out to you as a gift to show our appreciation for all you do to support the work. Okay? Yeah, that black one is popping. That thing that's hitting hard, right? For those who would like to support it, and you can order it in different sizes, that's the link right there for you. And there's a lot of, there's the Hebrew flag, a lot of things you can buy there in support of my brother Rawchaa. All right? With that, we are in open enrollment for the Hebrew and Bible Academy. Go to historytimes.org to be a part of the new installment of the Academy as we grow closer to the kingdom. I don't know. I think the shirts are something like $40, $45. I don't know how much it cost. He sent them to, he gifted us with these. I think it's about $45, I think. But the quality, you can wash them and all of that. The quality is A1. It even have jewels in it too. Let me see. There's jewels in it, like the eye on the Bible. When you see the eye in the Bible, there's a jewel there. So, all right, yeah, $45, 45 to 50, yeah. All right, with that, see you over on Patreon. Patreon.com/agathering144. Let's go into it and expose who's after our children. And guess what, folks? The Democrat Party, they're straight Baal worshipers. The Democrat Party never switched. They're the deviants. They're the ones who are compromising our children and separating our children and having our children getting dealt with by these Satanists and all that. They never changed their positions. They tricked us into supporting the deviants through the Civil Rights Act. That's right, folks. That's right. The Democrats are the front army for Satan to keep our curses in place under the cult of Baal. And now that our people have awakened, this is why they wanted to put all the money into immigration, so that they can have a new generation of servants to compromise and or, that's right, folks, a compromised demographic immigration where they can hold what? They can hold citizenship over these people and get access to more children. That's why they wouldn't have put we don't care about your people. We're going to put money into these people who are compromised so that we can now mess up the mind, body, and spirits of a new generation of God's people. Because now, folks, Judah, we have wised up over here. And we started getting hip to their satanic games. So they're saying, well, we're going to bring black people over from other places then and compromise them to get more access to their children, because Satan requires that sacrifice from them. So the politicians don't care if it's us or the immigrants' children they're sacrificing. They need them over here to keep their power in place. See? Blessings. Have a blessed Sabbath. See you on Patreon. Shalom. The Bible. Is it hard to understand?
When it comes to reading the Bible, the first thing that comes to mind is the fact that this is the Word of God.
The seals have been broken, and the truth is here.
And when we go throughout the scriptures, when we go throughout extra biblical records, we find that the language that God employed, that He used to create the heavens and the earth, was the Hebrew language.
Christ said, I came for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. But yet no one, no religious leader, no religious church out there anywhere can now identify the 12 tribes of Israel. Can we? God is quite simple, but it seems as if man makes understanding him hard.
What are those mysteries?
The truth of your book and the truth will make you free. The Hebrew and Bible Academy, you're invited.